Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's boys varsity basketball action live from the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School. Tonight, it's the Riverdale Raiders taking on the visiting East Lee County Jaguars. Ball is stripped right up the middle, and there's East Lee drawing first blood, now 2-0, as the layup is put in right off the hands of number 25, Thor Gonzalez. Thank you all for tuning in to tonight's game as we are just underway. This is Nick Rush giving you the play-by-play action. Once again, live from Riverdale High School, just about a minute into your action. Here are the Raiders in the attacking end. They're dressed in their their home white uniforms. Garnet red numbers on the front and back, white pants with the garnet and gold stripe running down the sides. Meanwhile, East Lee, they're wearing their black uniforms, white numbers on the front and back, and black pants with the green stripe running down the sides. Raiders, they've been juggling the ball all around the attacking end as they move from right to left across your computer screen. East Lee from left to right, and head coach Damon Jones for the Raiders not very happy with how his team has started the game in terms of ball carrying, so he's going to call the timeout very early on with 6:47 left to go in your first. 2-0 is your score. East Lee is on top early on here from Riverdale High School in Fort Myers, Florida. Raiders hoping to bounce back after falling short in last Tuesday night's contest to Newman High School by a 54-42 score down in Naples. So Riverdale trying to retaliate off of that. Here's a long-distance jumper from Dean Wilson. It's up and through for three off of the left key, and the Raiders hop in front for their first lead of the game. It's now 3-2 Riverdale. Outside, carrying the ball from the right side. There's a shot redirected wide off the hands of Joseph Arizari, I believe that was. And now here's Dante Quintella leading the ball out to center. Very unique situation for the Raiders tonight as they are playing without Jacob Tracy due to a leg injury that he suffered from last Tuesday night's game. He is out, and coming in for him is going to be his brother Jared Tracy, playing his first basketball game, or making his first appearance in a few games rather. So he is returning to the court tonight to fill in for his brother Jacob. All right, so three-pointer for Wilson down the middle is going to make it 6-2, and here's Riverdale off of a turnover and a bucket on the way from Jaquez Dickerson. Raiders now lead by 6 points here with 5:40 left in your first. Carrying the ball to the right key for East Lee is Abdil Escobar. He's going to make the jumper right on the line, and that's going to tip wide into the hands of Dante Quintella. And as a result of the injury with Jacob Tracy, there's a little bit of a lineup change as well for your starters. Here's your lineup list for Riverdale. Number 1, Daniel Malivert. Number 2, Dante Quintella. Number 3, Jaquez Dickerson. Number 15, Miguel Vieira. And finally, Dean Wilson, as usual, wearing number 21, being featured in the starting lineup. Here's another two-pointer on the board, this time coming in off of the hands of Ramon Pagan. 8-4 now, Raiders in the lead, but East is going to call the timeout here by their head coach. And overall, we're just a few moments into this contest, and both teams have already caused a timeout. East Lee being coached by head coach Paez as he talks through the game plan with his team here. Just in front of the team benches, which is off to the left side of my broadcast position. Raiders off to my right side for tonight's game. So as we get back into action with 5:12 left in quarter number 1, Raiders up by 4, throwing it back into action from back behind the Raiders' own net is going to be none other than Jaquez Dickerson. Give and go to Dante Quintella. Now tossing over to Miguel Vieira up on the right corner. Wilson stops at the corner, back high up, and right there, you heard a little bit of disappointment from Coach Jones. We're sitting right next to him tonight, so very interesting. And now there's going to be a whistle off of a foul. it's a foul against Eastleigh, so Riverdale is going to continue their drive for the ball. Wilson with the jumper, and that's going to swish back out into the court. Ball's going to make its way out of bounds, and the Raiders are going to regain control again. It's thrown back in by Daniel Malivert to Dickerson. One hand lifts it up, and that's going to bobble its way back into the hands of an Eastleigh player, and now there's a little bit of a wrestling match for the ball there, and a flag, or not a flag, but a whistle rather, for a violation. Throwing into the paint to Jaquez Dickerson. That was Daniel Malivert tossing it back into play there. Raiders, they're up by 4 points, but right now they're having a little bit of difficulty when it comes to controlling the ball offensively. And now here's Eastleigh on the offensive end. That ball is tossed up but overthrown by number 11 there. Wearing that number is Mo Goyne. Incomplete shot's going to be turned over by Dante Quintella. It was a pass from Vieira down low to Jaquez Dickerson, and the ball is going to spiral wide out into the sidelines. So Jaquez Dickerson's going to head back to the benches here. Raiders trying to get back into this one. There's a shot going to be tipped wide by number 55. That's Jackery Dickerson. All right, moving up ahead here for Eastleigh is going to be Mo Goyne. Drops it back to Thor Gonzalez, trying to make the pass outside to Pagan on the left corner, but there's another stop. It's a play with 3:40 left on your first quarter clock. Raiders up 8-4 against Eastleigh here from the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. This is Nick Rush giving you the play-by-play. There's a two-pointer on the board, courtesy of Ramon Pagan for Eastleigh, plus the foul, so he's going to try to go for the three-point play. With an extra shot, Deshaun Lane coming off the benches now, trading spots with Miguel Vieira, who's going to take a seat. Pagan dribbles slowly, trying to drown out the crowd noise. Shot overthrown, and Raiders back in possession. Bringing it down the right side, Deshaun Lane on the corner. Decides not to go for it here. He's going to toss it down the middle to Dante Quintella. Now it's at the left key. Outside to Deshaun, going for the three, and that's another one that was tossed a little too hard. Back and forth we go here. Even back and forth contests, between Eastleigh and Riverdale. Here's a jumper in the paint coming from Abdiel Escobar, and his shot's not even going to reach the net there. Quintella spins, faking off a defenseman, tries to lay it over to Jackery Dickerson, and that's going to be a offensive foul against Riverdale. So Eastleigh's going to turn over the ball, and that bucket for Dickerson is not going to count either way. Outside, it's Eastleigh. On the left paint, it's going to be Abdiel Escobar trying to wedge his way in from the key there. Off to the left side once again, and he's going to be hit by a defenseman. First quarter clock reads 2:30. Raiders up by 2. 8-6 is what the scoreboard reads. Lots of activity here at the Raider Rock Gym tonight. Great crowd on hand, as usual. If you ever want to come out to one of our basketball games, tickets are $4 a piece. So come out and join the fun with us. We're now tied up at 8 apiece, as Pagan is going to put up another two-pointer. Down low on the corner, it's going to be Malivert. Down low to Dickerson. That's Jackery Dickerson once again, who you can only assume is related to Jaquez Dickerson. And of course, I mean, it is pretty interesting to see the Raiders playing with not as much energy as they're typically used to, but you do have to remember, we had a very different starting lineup than we typically do. Of course, you don't have Jacob in there, so Jared's gonna be in that opening lineup. Meanwhile, you have other players that are typically not in the starting lineup, like Dante Quintella and Miguel Vieira, but here they are today. And Quintella today, he's been having a lot of action out there on the court as a guard. Another incomplete pass is going to go out here. It tipped off of an East Lee player's hand. Jaquez with the jumper. Shot's going to be too short. And taking it away for East Lee is Escobar. Escobar trying to dribble the ball past his defenseman here, which is going to be Dante Quintella. Right corner, here it is to number 22, Abdil Escobar. Back at the right point again, it's a pass to Gonzalez. Gonzalez trying to sneak his way further in. Bobbled ball, East Lee recovers, and now here's Riverdale taking it away. 1 minute to play here in your first quarter. 8-8 is your score. Ball stripped again out of the hands of Quintella. He's going to return it. Jaquez Dickerson trying to go for a long distance shot. It's not going to reach the net right now. Coach Jones, he's fuming right now. He's frustrated. East Lee, they're coming into this ball game with a 4-12 record, currently on a 7-game losing streak. So of course the coach would have a right to be frustrated here, because Raiders have been a little bit off their game here, it seems, in their first. As a short jumper is going to go in off the hands of Escobar. East Lee now reclaims the lead 10-8, and they can't tie it up off of a failed shot from Jaquez Dickerson. Moving up the gut here to the center of the field, it's going to be Thor Gonzalez. Gonzalez on the outside. At the right key, shot is going to be wide of the net. Very interesting first quarter of play, but it ends like this. 10-8 is your score. East Lee is on top. Quick break coming up on the way. After this, on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network, 10-8 is your score. Let's see what the Raiders can do, and can they get back into the contest right after this. We return to more boys varsity basketball action on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. 10-8 is your score. East Lee on top of Riverdale. It was been a back and forth game for the most part, but Riverdale, they've been having a lot of difficulties throughout the course of the first quarter, having trouble handling the ball and just bringing the energy to East Lee, offensively and defensively at that. So that's what I mean when I say, can the Raiders get back into this game? I said that before the break, but either way, Riverdale's just been playing out of the game, it seems like, having a hard time maintaining their energy, so let's see if they can figuratively bring up that energy and get themselves back in, as I previously said. Carrying the ball is East Lee. They're going to carry it to start the game. There's an incomplete shot coming from Escobar. It's going to be dribbled down the opposite end to Malivert. Daniel Malivert down at the midpoint, trying to sneak his way further into the paint. Shot is going to be off to the sides. And it looks like Malivert was fouled on the play, so he's going to step up to the line for a pair of free shots. His opening one's going to bounce off the rim. 7:32 left to play in your second quarter and first half of play. 10-8, East Lee on top. Malivert's second one is going to be the same as the first. They both bounce off the iron, and that does not help the Raiders' case at all here. They're just having a hard time putting shots in the net. They're taking plenty of shots offensively, but they're having a hard time just getting them in the right place. Off to the right key, with the ball in his hands, it's Thor Gonzalez trying to go for it all, and his shot's going to bounce its way out of bounds. Malivert He's going to bounce it back into play to Dante Quintella. It's going to be the far right side. Down low to Deshaun Lane. Lane now moving high up at the point, opposite end. None other than Dean Wilson, who snipes in the long-distance shot. It's now 11-10, Raiders back on top. 6:37 left to play. And your opening half of play between East Lee and Riverdale. Fans now starting to come together here, trying to cheer on their Raiders. Very low shot is going to go wide by number 23 there for East Lee. Backing up is going to be Dante Quintella at the right key, trying to send it down low to Malvert. Now down the middle to Deshaun Lane. Nice passing here by the Raiders right now. Trying to make his way closer in is Vieira. Outside the lane, going for a three, and that's way outside. Trying to put East Lee back on top is Gonzalez, and he will do so successfully with the low shot. Right now, 2 fouls for Riverdale here in your first half, 3 for East. On the right wing side, it's going to be Deshaun Lane. Throwing it upwards to the midpoint to Dean Wilson, who's going to sneak it into the paint for another successful opportunity. A lot of possession changes, or lead changes rather, in this game. As Pagan now carries the ball, and there's a foul put up against Riverdale. It's going to be Gonzalez throwing it back in right in front of the Riverdale benches. It's going to go down low to Escobar. Escobar being cornered in by Malvert. Escobar now nearly stepping out of bounds. He falls to his feet, and there's an offensive foul going against East. Raiders coming into this game, 10 wins and 10 losses on the regular season. And like I mentioned earlier, East Lee is 4-12. So of course, on paper, it seems like Riverdale would really dominate in this game, but East Lee really keeping up the pace, and you really have to give them credit for that. They're playing hard. And once again, East Lee's on the 7-game losing streak, so they are reeling the ball around very well. Wilson trying to go downtown, and things aren't going to work out. It's still in play, barely kept inside by Dante Quintella. It's going to be turned over by East Lee anyhow in their favor. It's Escobar back outside where Gonzalez is standing. Right corner to Escobar. They're going to trade back and forth once again between Escobar and Gonzalez. Escobar. Gonzalez going for three. No to that one. And Riverdale marching back down the opposite end of the court. It's Quintella lobbing it over to his right side where Dean Wilson is standing. Drops it low to Miguel Vieira. Vieira cross court to Quintella. Had to really make some airtime to keep that one in play. And now he's going to drag it out towards center court as he slowly moves his way in. Malvert fakes a three-point shot, trying to find out what he's going to do here. Shot is going to not even get close, and outside rebound. That's going to be another no, as Deshaun Lane is unsuccessful on the three. There is a jump shot, and that's going to go crazy. 3:23 left to go as we have another whistle. And your second quarter, 13-12. Raiders just hanging on, keeping in here with East. Throwing it back in is going to be Malvert to Wilson. And his shot way out from the left key is going to be bouncing off the backboards. A lot of crazy shots here by both teams thus far. Nice long distance shot is going to be redirected wide. Now up on the left corner. Cross court to Gonzalez. Gonzalez trying to be successful here as he tries to move past Deshaun Lane, putting a lot of pressure on him. Ball bounces loose. Another one coming in from Escobar. And East still cannot convert. My goodness, it's been a game where defenses have ruled. If you take a look at that scoreboard, about 2.5 minutes away from halftime, and it's 13-12. Raiders somehow staying competitive. And now off to the right side. That's a wobbly shot coming back down as it misses wide left. Quintella down the middle, going to Lane. Lane sneaking his way on into the paint, drop pass. Back down the middle to Wilson, and Wilson's going to put another pair up on the board. It took the Raiders a little bit, but they're finally really getting a little more comfortable out there. Still a few things to improve on, of course. East Lee is going to try to carry it into the offensive zone. Shot's going to be tipped back down to the Raiders' possession. Malvert throwing it high up in the sky, and it will not land in the net. What a game of basketball this has been, ladies and gentlemen. That ball is going to be free once again, and it's someone stepped their way out of bounds. Or it's going to be a foul here. No, it looks like the ball just went out of bounds from the looks of it. So Gonzalez is going to throw it back in for East Lee. That ball, anyhow, came very close to the sidelines. Now with the ball, it's Escobar. Give and go to Mo Goyne. Goyne over to Gonzalez, right side. Shot right on the free throw line is going to come back away. And here are the Raiders. Miguel Vieira with the ball. 1 minute left in your first half. Shears it off to Malvert. Malvert looking around, faking some passes, trying to go deeper in there. And it's Miguel Vieira taking a shot, and he didn't put enough pressure behind it anyhow. Gonzalez bringing it down low to the left corner, cross court to Goyne. Goyne puts his hands in the air as he celebrates a nice layup coming in off to the right wing side. 30 seconds left. Now 23 seconds left here. Raiders up by one, hoping to extend it here as they have the ball in the offensive zone on the paint. And there's going to be another violation on the play here. Raiders, the best thing that can happen to them right now is they can end the first half with the lead, even if it is by one. But do whatever you can to extend it here in your final seconds. Wilson controlling the ball with one hand, moving from left to right across center court. Now he starts moving frantically. Slows down, 7 seconds left, trying to throw off his defenseman Goyne. Going deeper in, it's Vieira, outside three, no. And the Raiders do end up on top, 15-14 at the end of your first half. But overall, they have the lead in the worst kind of way. What a game it was. Or what a first half, and what a game it's going to be after this break. So we have halftime coming up, 10-minute break. And after this intermission, we will come back with more play-by-play of high school basketball on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. Once again, 15-14, Raiders on top over the East Lee County Jaguars. We'll be right back right after this break. So we return for boys varsity basketball action on the Riverdale Raiders Radio Network. It's your third quarter of play as the Raiders lead over the East Lee Jaguars. And a very tense, close matchup, 15-14 is your score. Riverdale on top. There's a shot going way off sides from Dean Wilson to the left corner. East Lee now bringing it to the opposite end as they now move from right to left across your computer screen. Riverdale from left to right. Scramble for the ball out at center. Going to be dished out to East Lee. Shot is going to be knifed across the rim. but back down low. That shot came from number 10 there from East Lee. And the foul as Dante Quintella was knocked down. 30 seconds into your third quarter, getting back from the halftime break. Once again, Raiders on top 15-14. And it has been a very nice back and forth matchup. It's been a game where defenses have ruled. Both teams mainly just exchanging offensive moments on the opposite end of the court. Very fast-paced matchup. I'll tell you this, it's been pretty interesting to follow because these guys are looking like an absolute blur out there on the court. There's a shot up and in from number 22, Abdil Escobar. And now East Lee brings up another lead change as they are up by 1. And Jaquez Dickerson says, we'll change that right on back with a layup off the right hand. This is going to be a fun second half to watch. Both teams have had their struggles here. So let's see if the third and fourth quarters are any different. Here's Miguel Vieira. Right key. Trying to dance his way into the paint. Drops it outside to Quintella, who is at the left corner. I think for a moment he thought of going for an out-of-town shot there, but he thought that's not the best of an idea, and he tried to slip his way into the offensive zone there. A little deeper, but the ball went right out of his hands and out of play. Raiders are going to keep going as it's thrown in by Daniel Malivert from back behind the attacking net. Now there's a little bit of a confusion right in front of the scoring table. So we'll see how that goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break here. This happened a few games ago. But either way, I'm going to go on a media timeout. And we'll take a quick break right after this on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. All right, so we are back from a brief media timeout there. A little bit of confusion among the scoring of this game. I believe it was the amount of fouls throughout the course of the game for both teams. So the officials wanted to get that figured out, and now we are back to action. 6:22 left in your third. Riverdale on top 17-16. It's pretty interesting. It's a little bit deja vu from one of our previous games, most recently versus Gulf Coast. We had a little bit of a stoppage for quite a few minutes when it came to the scoring of the game, but luckily this one wasn't as much of a delay, and we're back in it. Quintella was fouled, so he's up for 2 shots. First one is going to be no good. So we are back on track and ready for some more basketball live from the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's varsity basketball game on High School Sports. This is Nick Rush giving you the commentary of tonight's game. Big scramble for the ball out towards center court. A lot of pressure here, and there's a foul. And what's the scenario going to be here? It's going to be a foul against the Raiders. Some of the fans are a little upset about that call, coming up with a what chant. That's what I love about this crowd. These fans here at Riverdale, very interactive with the game. They love basketball, so of course, this has to be great for the players to be competing in. A nice full house with great basketball-loving fans. Ball is fumbled, stripped away by the Raiders. It's Malivert down the gut. Drops it outside to Wilson, going for 3, and he can't make it happen as it's stolen away by Thor Gonzalez. Gonzalez makes a nice swish move as he dishes it down low to the paint, and that's going to be another foul there as number 10 was controlling the ball for East Lee. So with that foul, East Lee is going to be hurling this one back in. It's going to be from their own zone as well. Dante Quintella is going to march his way back to the bench, and a little bit of a line change there. Here we go. Thrown back in by number 10 to Abdiel Escobar. Right key to Gonzalez. Gonzalez spins around. A lot of pressure being put on him right now as he throws it over to the left corner where Escobar is standing, trying to go far away, but the score remains the same. 17-16, Raiders in the lead. Jamel Chang is going to drive the ball back into the attacking end for Riverdale. Here's Malivert. Malivert standing right on the free throw line, and there's a whistle out of nowhere. And from I know that was a traveling call. I believe that was a traveling because you saw the ball carrier Malivert standing right on the line, and then all of a sudden the call was blown off suddenly, so I believe that was a traveling call against Malivert. But Eastley is going to have the ball now as Escobar is going to dance around with it. It's taken away. Here's Chang. Chang moving down the center of the court, powering his way into the paint, tries to throw it up, but it won't fly. Rebound coming in from Dickerson, and it's good. Raiders advance to lead by 3 here. And your third quarter, we have 4 minutes to play. Another blown whistle and a stoppage of play. Eastley throwing it back in up against the scorer's table. It's going to be coming off the hands of Gonzalez. Straight to Escobar. And Escobar holding the ball, and there's going to be another whistle on the play. Quintella now making his way back out onto the court from a brief break. And Malivert's going to sit down for now. All right, so Eastley putting on an offensive attack here with the ball. It's Escobar. And there is a shot from the paint going straight through for 2. 19-18. Raiders leading this one. Wilson to the right corner. Trying to make his way lower in there. Runs out of space. Tries to fire it back in to Jaquez Dickerson. And there we go. Another layup on the board. Here's East back on the opposite end of the court. It's Goyne. Back up to the midpoint. To Gonzalez. Cuts off a defenseman. Tries to knife a shot into the net, but it would not go. Here's Quintella. And a fired shot from Wilson, and no, it's going to miss again. Wow. Wilson, he's been open there on the right corner. He's been doing a great job of getting open and delivering his shots, but they just haven't been converting recently. There's another shot that's going to hit the iron. And another whistle on the play as the Raiders will recover the ball. Here's Dante Quintella. Out to center. Right key to David Johnston. Johnston delivering it off to Wilson. And after a few attempts, that ball is going to bounce in. There's a timeout for East Lee. And another break. 2:24 left to play. And your third quarter of play, 23-18, is your score. All right, so this is going to be a 1-minute timeout here. And right now, East Lee, they have some work to do, of course. Riverdale, they're starting to get hot. They're finding some of that momentum defensively. So, of course, when you play great defense and you convert to good offense, of course, you're going to have one heck of a game. But right now, we're seeing Riverdale get a little more comfortable out there. And they're starting to really put some of those points on the board now, 23-18. Up by 5. This is probably one of their biggest leads of this ball game. That's how you know you have a good game on your hands. Raiders came into your second half at the start, leading by just 1 point. Both teams gang off the bench here, and let's see if the Raiders can continue to make some more magic out there on the court. So time's going to expire for that timeout. And 2:24 left in the third is where we carry on. It's Escobar putting the clock back into play. Give and go to Gonzalez. Cross-court feed to Escobar. Escobar now the number 25, Thor Gonzalez. Gonzalez now to Escobar. They're trading off back and forth high up at the key. Escobar at the right key tries to take a shot way off. Jamel Chang now up on the right corner to Dante Quintella. Now it's David Johnston at the left corner trying to power his way and throw his way outside. And what was that? Wow. That was just a pass just way overthrown. It went way out of control, I guess, off the hands of David Johnson as he was at the left key trying to go off to the right side, but no one was even there, and that pass went way out of control, out of bounds. So either way, whistle would have been blown. 90 seconds left to play in your third. Raiders up by 5 points. It's Pagan. Pagan is going to flip it over to Gonzalez. There's a far distance shot, and that's not going to cut it. As Quintella is going to bring the ball down the opposite end of the court. Here he goes, off to the right key. Trying to make a pass, it's going to be tipped away by a defenseman. And he got locked up with the defenseman as there was a foul. Well, what happened is Quintella hit the ground, then you saw Thor Gonzalez try to steal the ball away and make a breakaway for the net. But that didn't happen as Gonzalez was tripped up by Quintella. I think Quintella had his arm around the leg of Gonzalez, but either way, that's a foul. East Lee tossing it back in front of the East Lee benches. Left side. It's going to be Gonzalez. Lobs it up and away to Escobar. Shot isn't even going to get high enough. Quintella down the opposite, and his shot is going to be batted wide and away by an East Lee defenseman there. Clock frozen with 42.9 in quarter number 3 left to play. For a while, that clock has been frozen on the same score at 23-18 in control of the Raiders. Another incomplete pass goes over the head of Dean Wilson. He moves into the backcourt to scoop it up. That's happened multiple times here in tonight's contest. Raiders just having a hard time with their passing and the pressure that they're putting on the passes. Here's the left key, it's David Johnston. Johnson trying to bring it down low on the left side to Quintella, further down to Wilson, inside the paint. Outside to Wilson again, and there is your three that we've been looking for. And it's 26-18, 4 seconds left to play. Last second shot on the way. Is it going to make it in? No. Shot from Ramon Pagan is not going to be put on the board. And the Raiders are looking more hot than ever here. 26-18 is your score. Riverdale in the lead. As we hand to your fourth quarter of play, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back with more Raider basketball on the Riverdale Raiders broadcast network right after this. Our break is over and we are ready for your fourth and final quarter of regulation as the Raiders are in control of this one over East Lee, 26-18. As we get back into it, here is Thor Gonzalez. He's going to flick the ball back into play here to start your fourth quarter. And here's a whistle. And that had to do with the play clock, I believe. They're just going to reset that. We had some technical difficulties there. So they're going to resettle that, and here we go, we're back. They just had to reset the clock there to 7 minutes and 57 seconds. It looks like we're ready to go here. Yes, we are. It's Escobar. Cross feed. De Goyne. Goyne low on the right side. It's going to be Escobar again. Escobar down the middle to Gonzalez. Gonzalez stops, pauses, shoots, and there's a three. That's exactly what East Lee needed to get back into the slump they were in. And now, here's Quintella dashing his way down the opposite end. Tried to throw the ball over his head. And that's not even going to come close. There's another two-pointer for East. That time, it's going to be Escobar. Ball is fumbled away inside to Jaquez, and there we go. It's a clutch layup for Dickerson. I realize that's what Dickerson really is great at when it comes to playing out there on that court. He's great for getting inside the paint, and when he receives a pass and he has enough space, he's going to leap up and he's going to put that layup right in. Smooth like that. There's a shot that bobbles around a bit, but it's going to travel into the hoop from Ramon Pagan. There are some East Lee fans in attendance here. You may be able to hear them. There was a defense chant starting up with them, and now the Raider fans are going to make a Raiders chant trying to drown them out. All right. East Lee on the opposite end as the Raiders turn over the ball. It's 28-25 in advancement of Riverdale. Here's Escobar. Escobar bringing it low to the corner. It's lobbed back high. Down the middle, three-pointer for Gonzalez is not going to tie up the game. Quintella bringing it in for the Raiders. It's a 2-on-1 off to the right side. Now down the middle. It's Malivert. He's going to underhand it over to Miguel Vieira. Vieira. Now he's going to toss it over to Quintella. Left corner. Sneaking his way in back outside. Vieira going long. And that shot's going to hit the backboards. East Lee now back in control here with 5:35 left to play in your game. Well, this game is pretty close. We may not have 5:28 left in the game, but regulation-wise, that's the case. But this game is so close. East Lee having so many opportunities right now to tie up the game, it's just not happening. As right now, it's Escobar. Escobar to Gonzalez for another three, and that's going to just hit wide. It's very possible that this game could be tied at the end of regulation, but that's the great thing of basketball. It's so fast-paced, you don't know how it's going to end up. East Lee can catch a sudden breeze, and they can take the lead back. I mean, really, the possibilities are endless, and now the Raiders are going to call another timeout here. And that's going to be a minute timeout. 28-25, Raiders are on top. So, yeah, right now it's definitely uncertain on who's going to win this game. East Lee, they've adapted well to the environment. And they've been playing great for a team that's had their struggles earlier on this year. It's a 4-12 team on a 7-game losing streak. Raiders just doing wherever they can to get above 500. So, yeah, Riverdale right now, they are in for a challenge. But, of course, that's because our main lineup was switched around a little bit between players. But, nonetheless, what a game it's been. It's great to see some of those players get a little more time out there on the court.
Tell my mama say hi.
Yeah.
What?
Alright, so 5:04 as we get back into it. Very interesting. We just had an official come over here. Saw the commentary table. And he wanted to tell his mom hi. So that's very interesting, but nice little shout out there here on the broadcast from one of our officials. Nothing wrong with that as we get back into your contest. That shot's a swisher right through and in off of the hands of Gonzalez as he's going to come up for 2 shots off of a foul. Very interesting. Some of the East Lee fans here in attendance, every time a free throw comes in and it's good, they hit the dab. That's a nice new dance move coming out. A new craze, I guess you could call it, if I must. But yeah, just saw them doing that. They're having a good time. It's a very small crowd there of 6 people, but they're making some noise and they're having a great time, making their voices heard here at the Raider Rock Gym. Traveling out to see their team on the road. Malivert throwing it back in from the sidelines to Wilson. He went too far out that time. Dickerson trying to put it in, and there it is. The assistance was provided by Connor Johnston. Now 30-27. Raiders keeping it going here. They need to play good defense because that's what this has been. None other than a defensive ball game. Hard back and forth action. The shot goes in there off of number 10. But will that count? They're not going to put down the scoreboard, so it looks like the foul came before the shot. And now there's another violation once again off of a hard shove. My goodness. So far, 7 fouls for the Raiders, it says on the scoreboard, 5 for East. It's been a foul-filled game. Here's Quintella. Quintella off to the left side, trying to make his way deeper in. He's having a hard time reading the signs. Noise is being made, and there's your whistle with 3:53 left to go, and the ball is going to be turned over from the looks of it. Yes, it will. Eastleigh now in control. Dante Quintella just got locked up there, and the official blew the stoppage, and now here's another stoppage of play. My goodness, the action out here at the Raider Rock Gym. It is moving so fast. It's a little difficult to keep up with it, but hey, right now, that's what's so great about basketball. And there's a 3 coming from Abdel Escobar. It looks like he was standing right on the line, and they're going to count it as a 2-pointer, so Raiders still have a lead, but nonetheless, their playing right now is absolutely crumbling. Coach Jones, he is upset, and he has the right to be right now. This is going nuts.
This doesn't get it, son. That thing, take it to the hole. D, you're going to have to do something down there just to stand there and let
right now, the East Lee fans, that small crowd out there, they're having a good time. I mean, they're up on their feet. They're enjoying some of their team's recent success out on the court. They are slowly creeping behind the Raiders, but this game is just amazing. I'll tell you that. This is what you love to see as a basketball fan, just great back and forth action, very close, and a game that also comes down to the final buzzer. This is another one going long, and it's not going to be successful from Gonzalez. Here's Quintella at center court. Man, these players are tense out there. These guys have played their hearts out, that's for sure. Dickerson trying to fake out a man. And there's another whistle going against the Raiders. Looked like another traveling call there. So another violation of play is going to plague the Raiders. Here's Malivert down the middle, all alone. Rebound from Johnston's not gonna go. Wow. Players they're flopping all over the court right now. This is crazy. Shot is going to be underthrown from Escobar. Raiders now finally trying to close things down. They're up by 1 point. Quintella and the Raiders trying to change that up, trying to keep the lead going and advance it. 3 is not going to be put on the board there from Dean Wilson. Hold your breath, Raider fans. This is going to be a big one. 2 minutes left in your competition. Off to the right corner, it's Thor Gonzalez. Gives it to Escobar off of one hand. Now to number 23 off to the left side. And now the Raider bench, they're upset because they thought there was a travel. Jumper. And now East Lee has control. It's 31-30 East. Raiders in trouble now. Oh my goodness, what a game. Quintella, it's stripped away. Out of the hands and now in front of the scorer's table here. So much noise, it is absolutely crazy. Raiders still have the ball. That's the good news. It's Malivert throwing it right in front of the scorer's table here. Gives it to Jamel Chang. Chang slow, dribbling the ball. Raiders going to have to come up clutch here. Crumbling down to 80 seconds left in regulation. Spinning around is Dickerson. Throws it up. Yes, he does. Raiders up by 1. And there's a stop with 1:12 left to play. And your ball game, 32-31 is your score. Raiders are on top. This game, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to come down to the final buzzer. I can't wait to see how it ends. We will find out right after this on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. We'll take a quick break. Raiders on top by 1. 1:12 to play. It's going to be fun. We'll take a break. More basketball to come after this. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 1:06 left to go in regulation. 32-31. Raiders are in control over the East Lee Jaguars in boys varsity basketball action. And now there's another whistle with 1:02 left. Raiders still with the ball after it spiraled out of play. It's going to be Malivert throwing it back in. Raiders right now, they need to focus on being smart with the ball. Don't worry about the time. Well, I guess keep it in consideration. But don't let the drama consume you. There's a shot, and there it is. A two-pointer from David Johnston. Raiders up by 3 with 46 left to play. Listen to the crowd go, trying to cheer their team on to victory. Gonzalez out the center court, dancing around the key from right to left. Now left to right. He's going to hand it over to Escobar. Escobar going for the three, and it's going to not count. You're the Raiders. 25 seconds left, and East Lee's going to pick up a foul with 25.2 left to play. Well, the good news is that the Raiders are up by 3, so at this moment, it seems like East Lee, if they want to tie it up at this point, they're probably going to have to go for a 3 to tie it up. But right now, you have Jaquez Dickerson coming up to the line. And this is going to be good. If he can get an extra shot or an extra point, at least one, that'll be good. And there it is. He puts it through. Raiders up by 4. Put up another point. Jaquez Dickerson goes 2 for 2 up at the line. Raiders now up by 5. A lot of good things need to go right for East Lee in 20 seconds. Shot bangs off the iron. Rebound. A third one's not going to happen. And a foul against Riverdale with 15.4 remaining. 36-31. Raiders leading. 15.4 left in this ball game. And coming up to the line right now is number 10 for East Lee. Puts up in the air and it spins out. Wow, it spun around the hoop. It looked like it was about to go in, but it went right back out in a bizarre change of events. The second shot from number 10 is going to be good. Raiders up by 4. And there is a foul going against East Lee, of course. The good news for the Raiders is that they can keep the lead out of the hands of East Lee here by allowing them to foul, because that'll just keep on bringing Riverdale up to the free throw line. And look at it again. It's Jaquez Dickerson. Going 2 for 2 on his last pair of attempts just moments ago. That's going to be just short. Now 10 seconds left. There was only one shot being taken there. 6 seconds left. Here we go. It's Gonzalez on the corner. 2 seconds left. 1-0. That's the end of your ball game. The Riverdale Raiders defeat the East Lee Jaguars in what has been a nerve-wracking ball game. 36-32 is your final score. Well, what a game it's been. It definitely was very nerve-wracking moments ago with just about 2 minutes left. The Raiders, they were up by 1 point, and it seemed like East Lee, they were charging in on Riverdale, but the Raiders, they picked up some good key points, played some great momentum, and just like that, they come up with a big win against East Lee. And with the win, that puts the Raiders over 500. 11-10 is their record this season so far. East Lee County now goes down to an 8-game losing streak. Now 4-13 this year, but all smiles here at the Raider Rock Gym for these Riverdale fans. They watched one heck of a ball game, probably one of our closest ones this year, one of them at least, but nonetheless, great ball game, and the win makes it even all the better. So 36-32, once again, your final score. Raiders defeat East Lee. That's going to do it for us here at the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network, live from Fort Myers, Florida, at the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School. This is Nick Rush saying thank you for listening to tonight's presentation of high school basketball, and so long. We'll see you for our next contest.